I think we're going to see a lot more fallout at the end of this year. Because right now, people are just like eating up the accounts as much as they can to get as many accounts in as possible. When that goes away and they're not prepared to what's next, that's where we're going to see a lot of another, 50% of the industry go under.
What's up, everybody? Sam Taggart here, your host of the D2D Podcast. And I'm just excited for everybody that is listening. And, season is kind of winding down for the summer salespeople, still in full swing for a lot of you guys. Canada is probably getting freaking cold at this point. But guys, we're moving into I look at it like seasons, right? Maybe you're not selling full time right now, but now you're moving into a training season, or you move into a rest season, or maybe move into a recruiting season. We've got a couple of cool things coming up. Door-to-Door Con, January 23rd and 24th. If you haven't plugged the date, this is going to be an awesome show. We just secured 2 of our keynotes, which are freaking badass, by the way, always coming up with some new cool ideas. So go check that out. We have not announced the keynotes yet, so I'm not going to say, but there is going to be a really cool music side of what it is, one of my favorite artists. Number 2, we have our business boot camp beginning of December. And then, guys, D2D Pro certification has finally come out this year for roofing, solar, pest, alarms, and fiber. What else am I missing? I don't know. Other industries. We're making the lighting one right now. And then Windows is on its route. So, guys, we have some really cool industry content for everybody out there. If you have not checked out a demo for your company where we white label that and train with you. So guys, before I jump into this, we love your guys' reviews, subscribe, and we love your feedback. So if there's certain guests or podcasts that you guys really like that you want us to redo or go deeper with a guest, or stuff that you're like, hey, can you do more on recruiting, or can you do more on, running a business or selling and closing techniques, please let us know. We love your feedback. Hit us up on YouTube or on the podcast, or leave a review or whatever. We take those into consideration. So guys, so much going on. Super excited to bring on your guest, JD De La Rosa, CEO of Roofio, and one of the founding partners of Services Summit that's coming up November 4th and 5th. So guys, if you're in Austin or you're in Texas and you're in home services, go check out their awesome event. It's got some, we'll be talking about it here in a second. But before I jump in, a lot of people are switching or moving or home services, adding verticals. I think this is an interesting podcast because of the diversity in solar and roofing, hence Roofio. So if you're in that limbo of I'm a solar company adding roofing, where 4 years ago it was every roofing company adding solar, right? I probably had 200 roofing companies I added solar with. And we taught them how to go set up an EPC and go set up software and this and that. And now we're probably seeing a big shift of solar people maybe adding HVAC or different services and diversifying. And then you're seeing a talent shift right now in the market where certain salespeople are kind of like, yeah, I'm open to trying something new, whether it's fiber or alarms or go back to this or whatever. And so it's kind of an interesting time in the market. So I thought it'd be really interesting to bring on JD De La Rosa, who is an interesting vantage point for home services, hence being involved in Services Summit, Ben's being involved in, Roofio for the time he's done that. And I'm excited to interview this guest. So if you're running a business or you're in sales, this will actually be kind of interesting just from a State of the Union with JD's background and kind of the both sides of this. So let's dive in. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, sir. Oh, that was great. That was a lot of info. Good stuff.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of fireballed everybody for a second. And lots of information. So go rewind that if you're like, wait, what did he say? What are the dates? Okay, so talk to me. When did you get started in the space? Just in sales in general, because it's you don't just start a proposal software-y vibe until.
Yeah. So I actually started knocking doors back in 2005. Started with a company called First Line Security.
OG, baby.
Yeah.
Wait, were you in the Prodigy?
I was. I had the number one office that year.
Tell us about this. Hold on, wait. This is like a plot twist for a second. Guys, if you're listening to this, tell us about this Prodigy with First Line, because it's probably the most baller pre-social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the most dope recruiting strategy.
Dude, it was one of the easiest recruiting strategies. We would literally go on a campus with like 2 camera crews and booths set up. And hey, you want to be on a summer it's kind of like The Apprentice back in the day, but it was
Like
called
a
The
reality
Prodigy.
TV show.
Yeah, like a reality TV. Hey, you want to be on a reality TV show for the summer? And people are lining up out the door just to like get an interview to be on it. So we could like hand select any student from any campus we went on to, and offices were literally filled up within like days. So that was really cool. And my first year though, before the project, I started when that was like my second year doing the project. My first year I was in Long Island, New York. So that was my first taste of knocking doors, was in Long Island, New York. So definitely got my teeth kicked in, but I learned a lot about New Yorkers. They are like M&M's, hard candy shell, but they're softies in the middle. So it was a great experience. And yeah, of course, the Prodigy ran one of the number one offices out there. I think I was actually number one in the company for the extension through that. But yeah, great stuff. I got a Hummer from it. 3 of my, like recruits actually made it to Hawaii for the end of that event. So it was a big thing. And then of course, First Line fell upside down from the ADT buyout that didn't happen with their accounts. So that was that. And then I stayed in security, went to Pinnacle, and then I started my own company called Vault Security out of DFW, and ran that for about 4 or 5 years, and sold my shares to my partner for a good little 7-figure exit, and then jumped right into solar. I didn't know anything about it. I started with a company called Zoe Solar. I did a little partnership with them, and really just jumped into the operational side of things because I was on the sales side for so long. So I was like, all right, well, I want to do something different. Let me learn how to, the wrenches turn, how the inventory stacks, all the bells and whistles, nuts and bolts with solar. So did that for a whole year. Unfortunately, my partnership with Zoe didn't work out the way I wanted it to, or what was told to me. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do this myself. Started Roofio in 2017. And we started as a solar company, roof, and then IO. So you see that IO is the power symbol, right? So Roof Power is where the name came from. And we just started just installing solar. So we're an actual EPC. We do everything from offering the front end sales, usually work with dealers, and then process everything to install completion, PTO, and then making sure the customer's happy, doing customer service and everything across the board. So we're actually not a software company, even though a lot of people think that we are. We just are so good at the process of the account. So people love bringing their accounts to us because we take care of their customers.
That's awesome. So how has been the solar coaster of just, you know what I mean? Kind of like the last 2 years. I think a lot of solar owners have been feeling the pressure of the market shifts and the law changes and things like that. Like, how have you weathered that?
Yeah. So for the last 2 years, well, let me kind of get into, we didn't do roofing for probably a good 2-3 years when we started. People were like, hey, you guys do roofs? We're like, no. You do roofs? No. You do roofs? All right, we do roofs now. Just having that in our name, we just had to make it happen. So we kind of started preparing for this shift. I kind of knew that there was going to be a shift in solar because just like Bitcoin, it's not going to go up all the time, right? It's got to correct itself. And I saw that happening with, interest rates being 0%. I mean, it was like selling candy to a baby back in the day, right? So there was going to be a correction. So, and I saw a lot of these companies that were very top heavy. And what I mean by that is they had warehouses, they had W-2 employees with hundreds of thousands on payroll. They had trucks. They had insurance for those trucks. They were growing daily and putting so many asset heavy items on their books that I actually did some consulting, and I told a couple of these companies, I was like, you guys, when sales dips, you're going to be upside down. You're gonna fall over. You're gonna be too top heavy. And a lot of them listened, some did, some didn't. And when the interest rates went up and it was harder to pencil those solar deals, that's when you started seeing the collapse of a lot of these mega companies. They couldn't control. There wasn't enough cash flow at that time to support all the assets they were growing in. And, obviously the lending became different than what it was. So, we had started preparing for that, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago. But over the last 2 years, the policy changing coming up, this year is definitely making it a lot more interesting on what needs to be done to stay in the market and be successful and keep moving forward. So we believe at Roofio that solar and roofing will marry each other. Eventually, that's going to marry each other. It'll be consolidated into one product to where when you get a new roof, it's coming with solar, like solar tiles, right? So, that's what we're looking to and building and growing. Obviously, there's not a product as of today. What is it? September 15th, 25. As of today, there's not a viable product that's cost effective for a homeowner to do. But whether it's in a year or 5 years or 10 years, however long it's going to take, it'll eventually happen. It'll consolidate. So that's what we're preparing for.
Instead of getting a metal roof, or instead of getting like an upgraded, kind of fancy slate roof or something like that, it's like, hey, spend the extra 50% on a roof cost and get solar and save on your electricity and just pay for it. You know what I mean? And I think that the pieces like that, people aren't seeing it that way, but like, I guess, let's forecast the extended 2 years for the the TPO products and things like that. Do you feel like that was long enough to kind of help this bridge that gap and kind of come up with other solutions other than just the TPO products?
I think bridging a gap's going to be tough to say, because I think we're going to see a lot more fallout at the end of this year. Because right now people are just like eating up the accounts as much as they can to get as many accounts in as possible. But when that goes away and they're not prepared to what's next, that's where we're going to see a lot of another, 50% of the industry go under.
Because they're all like, dude, we're making so much money right now. It's like, because you're selling on a deadline. You know what I mean? It's like, you should, rightfully so. It's the question is, how sustainable is that? And it's great for short term, but
I think TPO will definitely be an impact. It's going to be a different type of sale. I know in Texas, people love owning just because it's Texas, right? But, you're going to get a different crowd. You just have to sell to it and adjust and sell is a transfer of emotion. So if you're happy and confident about a product, they're going to buy it no matter what.
Do you think that I go look at door to door, I look at even like our industries, they're pretty innovative and they're pretty resilient. Like they're always going to find a third door, right? Like it's like, okay, do they makeshift new loan-like products that look like TPOs? Is there new innovation that's kind of being forced right now behind the scenes that's kind of solving for, you know what I mean?
We're definitely starting to see creative financing coming to the table. With these TPO products, with a lot of these battery products coming to the table to store. I think peer-to-peer energy sharing is going to be the next thing, where when the grid is, obviously it's deregulated in most parts, and I'm speaking of Texas just in general because I'm more educated here on that. It's going to get to a point where, you'll have a computer in your house that'll store your power, and you might have a coin, and it's like a whatever coin for energy, and say, hey, my neighbor needs some kWh over there. Let's, he can buy it from me, and it pulls from that computer. You get paid for it. He gets the extra power, and that's how it's regulated and pushed. So it's like an open peer-to-peer sharing market. So that's what I see happening. Who knows how soon that'll happen, but we'll say the date again, mark my words, maybe in like 5-10 years, we start seeing some of that stuff come to the table, maybe even sooner.
Decentralizing it truly. It's like, hey, we all have mini power plants, and I'm producing this many kWh, and I've overproduced. I don't need it, so I'm going to resell it, and I need it now, and I'm going to buy it, and it's just decentralizing. It's interesting.
here's my coin. And I think it'll be on a all blockchain market with, smart contracts. And, we'll start seeing more of that, the cryptocurrency smart contracts really kind of showing what it really does in the market.
Yeah, it's like a true use case versus like an NFT where it's like, this is art. This is has no utility.
Yeah. Now the
that.
electron is associated with a coin for real. There's value to it.
There's real value. It's like 1 kilowatt hour equals 1 penny in this. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, is your door-to-door business stuck? Are you ready to break through that revenue ceiling? Join over 1,700 business owners who've experienced an average of 2.3 times growth after attending the Door-to-Door Experts Business Bootcamp. Get the insider knowledge and proven systems that industry elites use to scale 3 times and become 10 times more profitable. 2 intensive days covering the door-to-door playbook, streamlined operations, strategic recruiting, leadership structures, and growth systems you can implement immediately. Don't stay stuck while your competitors pull ahead. Visit thedoortodoorexperts.com and secure your spot at the next business bootcamp. Transform your business in just 2 days. Now, back to the show.
Talk to me about where you've met passion and purpose and for purpose and for kind of this give back. There was a moment in time where you said, okay, I got paid out on an exit and I've had a successful solar company, and then you started to look for opportunities to give and create value and things like that. So kind of where did that start stemming? And that's kind of one of the premises of Services Summit. But let's back up before the event. You obviously felt the need to start helping. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved helping people. It's kind of always, you get to where you want to go by helping others get to where they need to go, right? So it's kind of a moving forward concept. But I had what happened to me in particular that sparked the Services Summit is my daughter, when she was 2 years old, she had a pool ball sized tumor in her brain. It was called a pilocytic astrocytoma. I remember that name because I did all my research in the world to figure out what it was. It was a cancerous tumor, and it didn't look good. And at the time, there weren't many options or avenues or places to get information. Luckily enough, we got pointed to the right center, and we got her craniotomy, and they took out 98% of the tumor. 2% was left. It was right on her. Or one of the brain cells coming up, and they couldn't get all of it off. So we had to do chemo for 2 years, and she beat it. She beat cancer. She, over the last 4 years now, she's been getting scans, and just everything's been coming out. There's, that 2% hasn't grown. It's just a little residual that's there. And she's happy, she's healthy. You can't even tell anything's happened. But one of the big things is when I was going through that, you have that talk with God, and, you say, and sorry, man, I get a little emotional. It's like, I'm going to get through this. And when I do, I'm going to do what I can to help and give back. And, these families that are going through this, they don't know, and they need to know, and they need help. So, that's why Services Summit supports ACCO, which is the American Children's Cancer Organization. They've been in nonprofit for 50 years. So Services Summit backs that organization to help them with the proceeds. So all net proceeds from the event goes to ACCO, and it's really an event for the services industry as well. So it ties in not only giving back, but also allowing professional business owners to come and help and showcase their services. And what I mean by that is we have everything from AC, plumbing, and just any type of home services, and actually services in general, law firms, you name it, are all coming and showing up and showcasing their services. So they're donating either their services or their time for speaking. Brad Lee's going to be our keynote speaker. I actually met with him in Vegas last week. There's a lot of backing that's coming to the table. Also talked with Brian Tracy last week. He's going to be opening up the event virtually. A lot of people are seeing the cause, and really it's providing service to the community and being able to give back. And a lot of business owners don't have an avenue or outlet to do that, and they want to. Hey, I want to give back. I want to be able to help out. So we've been able to set the stage and really help people get that message and really do some good work.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, like doing events and getting so many different people all together is always a challenge. What do you think has come from that? Like maybe in history that maybe wasn't as expected that you've seen in prior events, you know what I mean? Or prior experiences. So like, obviously putting yourself out there, founding a conference and putting yourself on the line and like, what have been some of the fruits that maybe didn't come as expected as you thought they would that have now metastasized since then?
Yeah. So, last year was my first time doing an event. I mean, I've thrown some big parties back in the day at my, college houses and stuff like that, but putting to an organized event together is a lot different, and finding the right people, doing the marketing, it was definitely, an experience to take and really chew on for a while. One of the things that I would say I got out of it is seeing people make handshakes that went into something else outside of my event, right? So our event, I would say. So for instance, like Ben Ward, he's one of the executive founders of Services Summit. He's like the protege of Brian Tracy, and Brian Tracy Ben and Joe ended up speaking at the event. They met each other at the Services Summit last year, and he'd be like, wouldn't it be great if Brian Tracy would be able to come out to SolarCon? And guess what happened? Brian Tracy was at SolarCon. And I remember that conversation just starting in the lobby of the conference, and then where it matured to is, Brian Tracy getting an award for his expertise in the sales industry. So,
isn't that cool? I think that's like where you said it best. It's like, what can come from a handshake? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's where people forget, like the power of, you make a relationship, and that's how you get that third door into Brian Tracy. Is had you not shown up, had you not networked, had you not asked, right? It's like, who knows how that network, that relationship is going to future perpetuate whatever success you're looking for, the roadblock that you're running into. And it's like, you're one idea, you're one relationship, you're one, step away from a big breakthrough. And I think a lot of people are afraid to go to these types of events and show up and invest in themselves. And it's like, oh, the cost of a ticket. I'm like, the cost of Brian Tracy through the front door versus the cost of the ticket, right? Like, you know what I mean? Go through the front door. I mean, I've had Brian Tracy on a virtual D2D con, and, is one of my idols, right? And it's like, being able to go through a back door to get to Brian Tracy is a much different way. And it's like, okay, I spent whatever ticket price, but then I saved, because I needed to get to Brian Tracy, another $50,000 on a speaking fee because I had a friend that would, you know what I mean? And then you ask yourself, how much did the ticket cost me? It's like, holy crap. But it's like having intention, having also trusting the flow and that power of investing. It's like buying real estate. It's like, I don't know exactly I'm going to put a prospectus or a proposal together of how much I should make over a 5-year period. But it's like, you don't know what tenants, and you don't know what repairs you're going to have to do in 3 years. Like, nobody can really put some perfect charter in place. But it's like, had I not made the investment, I don't know if I would, where you don't invest, you don't get any return. And so I think going to these types of things is super powerful. And I watch too many people, you've been doing this since 2005. And I think this is where people don't think about this. It's 20 years, guys. And he's still, isn't that crazy? Like, doesn't it make you feel old? 20 years. And people, like, I've been preaching this off the mountain for the last 8, because I'm like, man, there weren't conferences like this back when First Line existed. Like, think about that. Like, when you went to Pinnacle, it was like Pinnacle and only Pinnacle. And like, that was it. And then it was a war against us at Vivint. Like, it was like, Don't cross the freaking street over there because they're sinners and they're of the devil, right? Like, and it was just this battle, dude. I mean, I was in it. Like, and to see people actually sharing best practices in today's world, doesn't that just like blow your mind? Like coming together, competitors, talking about how we can help each other, serving one another. Like that's what this industry is now starting to do. And it's like, there's still evil in it for sure, but never would have you fathomed. And I just got to honor you that, 15 years ago, like, wait, we're all going to be in the same room?
Right. I was like that one movie where they all come out into the street with all the weapons. What was it called? Anchorman.
Yeah, it's like Anchorman. They're like, wait, we don't need to kill each other? Like, but I think that's powerful, and I think that like exudes the mission of door-to-door experts, door-to-door con, and those that also surround SolarCon and RoofCon and all these other conferences that have popped up since 2018. I mean, I can think that was kind of the first conference that we just were like, we're gonna go on a limb here and try to like put everybody together. It's like, and now there's a lot of these fun little events that are popping up that are like, same idea, like how do we help one another and serve and give back and have purpose? I'm all about it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it's we'd love the audience to come out. We implore you guys to come out and make those handshakes, right? It's showing up, but it's not only showing up, but it's asking what I can do for you. How can I serve you today? And that's where the connections are really made. And, a lot of people are like, hey, give me, or do this. But like, show up and ask how you can help out. And that's really where you start seeing value return to you tenfold.
100%. Well, JD, I appreciate you even just getting on the podcast and, your long history in the space. I mean, that's pretty cool to think 20 years. So if you were to go back, last question, you were to go back to the first year version, the second year version, back like OG JD, what advice would you give him knowing what you know now? What would you tell him?
Man, that's a good question. I would say that it's all gonna be okay. Because a lot of the first year guys, man, you're going out knocking doors or whatever you're doing, you don't know, like, your why. Hey, I need to make money. I need to do this. But like the bigger picture is bettering yourself, and learning and really just understanding that there's going to be the next level and trusting in that process, and just assuring myself back then that just keep doing what you're doing, like it's all going to be okay. And you're going to come out smelling like a rose.
Love that. That's super good advice. Well, I appreciate you getting on. I appreciate you sharing all your wisdom. And guys, again, go grab a ticket November 4th and 5th coming up quick. And thank you so much for hopping on the podcast, my man.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay, appreciate you guys. Hit subscribe, share this with somebody that need to hear it. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.